We are anonymous, watchers of global military and clandestine operations, exposing hidden depths behind the headlines. Today, we dive into a startling operation by the Drug Enforcement Administration, exposing how a cartel moved into New England, rewiring supply chains, logistics, and finance in ways that blur the line between war and crime. Last week, the DEA announced a sweeping one-week crackdown across New England targeting the Sinaloa Cartel, long described as the largest drug cartel in the world. More than 171 arrests were made in the region, 49 in Massachusetts, 64 in Connecticut, and 33 in New Hampshire. In total, over 500 pounds of methamphetamine, cocaine, and fentanyl were seized during the operation. In early October 2025, agents from the DEA and United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement stormed what they described as a massive Sinaloa cartel network hidden in plain sight across New England. What started as routine surveillance exploded into what federal officers called the largest cartel crackdown in Boston's region history. Over 200 suspects were arrested, and large hauls of drug guns, cash, and cryptocurrency wallets linking money laundering operations from Mexico and Asia were seized. Investigators called it the message. The war has reached your backyard. The DEA's special agent in charge of its New England Field Division, Gerard Forget, stated bluntly, "We're the DEA. We're not going after low-level retail drug traffickers. We are going after drug trafficking organizations." Out of the total arrests, 171 were confirmed members of the Sinaloa cartel. Massachusetts accounted for 49 arrests, Connecticut 64, and New Hampshire 33. For investigators, the mission marked the largest organized crime takedown ever recorded in New England's history. According to the DEA's statements, investigators seized more than 500 pounds of narcotics, including fentanyl, methamphetamine, and cocaine, and pulled over 22,000 counterfeit pills from circulation. They found dozens of firearms, stacks of cash, and cryptocurrency wallets tied to transnational money laundering operations. Digging deeper, the investigation revealed how the cartel had embedded itself within legitimate commerce. Warehouses that appeared to be ordinary were used to store drug shipments. Delivery drivers, freight handlers, and warehouse clerks turned out to be a part of a logistics chain moving narcotics disguised as everyday freight. Some trucks, marked as grocery or parcel delivery, were found to be carrying sealed bags of fentanyl hidden between normal cargo. Beyond that, lab testing confirmed every pill seized contained between 2 milligrams and 5 milligrams of fentanyl, enough to kill a healthy adult within minutes. These were not accidental contaminations. These were deliberate engineered for dependence, addiction, and death. Digital trail analysis exposed another alarming reality. The cartel was using encrypted Telegram groups, Instagram direct messages, and hidden servers. Social media ads mimicking legitimate food supplements were front pages for fake Adderall-type pills, stamped with the M30 logo. These were being marketed online, payment processed via encrypted peer-to-peer apps, delivered via Uber, FedEx, or even USPS routes, and arrived at homes wrapped like vitamins or study tablets. Behind the friendly ad for a focus pill or study boost was a deadly chemical inside. Analysts mapped 4 courier networks, leveraging rideshare services, parcel shipping, and mail to deliver narcotics directly to American homes. The pipeline began as raw chemical precursors from China, processed in factories in Sinaloa, Mexico, then shipped north through Houston or Phoenix, and finally into the Boston region, replacing the old visible border smuggling routes with a 3-stage, semi-legitimate supply system. This operational capability changed how law enforcement views the threat. The enemy was no longer confined to border tunnels or remote labs. It was embedded, hiding behind everyday convenience. Social media ads, courier deliveries, customer support chats, warehouse logistics. The same systems you use for shopping, shipping, or streaming were being used to feed death. The operation known as Operation New Dawn was planned for months by the DEA's New England Division. Over 600 officers from federal, state, and local agencies joined forces for a coordinated 7-day siege. Investigators found that the Sinaloa cartel had shifted strategy. It was no longer only dealing in bulk tons across the U.S.-Mexico border. It had turned New England, a region previously viewed as a consumption zone rather than a trafficking corridor, into transit hubs and logistical nodes. The traditional border route had morphed into a sophisticated global supply chain that leveraged legitimate commerce and trusted delivery services. One community caught in the crosshairs, the small mill town of Franklin, New Hampshire. On a raid morning, agents tossed a flashbang grenade and broke into a motorhome where claimed cartel associates were living. Many of those arrested there were later found, by independent investigation, to be low-level offenders, addicts, homeless people, local shoplifters, rather than high-ranking cartel operatives. While the DEA touted the arrests as high-level, local law enforcement officials said the characterization was inaccurate and risked turning legitimate community arrests into theater rather than targeted takedowns. At the same time, the United States government's strategy extended beyond arrests. For the first time, chemical precursor exports became subject to terror-style seizure orders. The United States Treasury Department froze multi-million-dollar accounts of a Chinese state-affiliated chemical company whose products appeared in at least 9 DEA seizures in the preceding 4 years. 2 mainland banks were sanctioned for laundering proceeds through Hong Kong and Singapore correspondent accounts. This was economic warfare, treating narcotics finance as a national security threat. Political analysts began calling this chemical containment strategy an approach that merges arrests, sanctions, and trade penalties into one doctrine. The idea: don't just chase traffickers, choke the chemical suppliers, technology sellers, and financiers that underpin the model. The same tools once reserved for counter-terrorism, asset freezes, extraterritorial subpoenas, trade restrictions, were now being used to hit the Sinaloa cartel's global business model. But the operation also revealed a sobering truth: the Sinaloa cartel was far from beaten. The DEA emphasized that while the East Coast pipeline was crippled, nearly every major United States city contained pieces of the same network, using drivers, digital distributors, and crypto couriers under covers of legitimate jobs and businesses. Fentanyl overdose remains the leading cause of death for Americans aged 18 to 45. Each statistic is a frontline casualty of this new kind of war. In both Connecticut and Massachusetts, the arrests were reported at 64 and 49, respectively, further underscoring the regional spread of the network. The Treasury's sanctions also included millions in frozen assets and the formal designation of cartel factions as foreign terrorist organizations. This shift is strategic. The cartels are no longer just drug suppliers. They are business empires, multinational corporations masked in legitimate trade, logistics, and finance. The war on drugs has morphed into war on networks. Conventional border patrols are no longer enough. As watchers, we must see this as more than a law enforcement operation. It's a signal. The battlefield is everywhere. Warehouses, shipping containers, your smartphone, your delivery apps, your social media feed. The enemy adapts, hides in mainstream infrastructures, and uses your convenience against you. So here's the call to action. Be vigilant. Talk with your children. Check what's being delivered to your doorstep. Question the ads that target you online. Support agencies working at the front lines. Share this story, because silence allows the network to rebuild. If you're watching this video, tap like, subscribe, and join the mission of truth. We are anonymous. We are watchers. We are legion. Share if you believe the truth must be hunted.